That exposed a little bit about the quarterback. Not that he's not talented, that he hasn't been there. And when the moment was big, he was not big. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. I'm Mike Catalana. As always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We thank you for being with me today for the League podcast brought to you by Stellar Roofing, Windows, and Siding, where you always get a stellar deal. We are coming to you from the Connors and Ferris podcast studio for a week of getting ready for some more football for the Bills, and they are going to be taking on the Cleveland Browns. Now, I want to tell you about something we have going on for us. We, meaning Jenna, Dan, and myself, will be in Buffalo this week for a live appearance of the Buffalo Plus podcast. We are at Riverworks again. This is our second appearance there, brought to you by Claw. We're thrilled to be there, especially coming off this victory for the Bills against the Patriots, leading into the stretch run of the season. So it's Thursday night, this coming Thursday. This is post-Patriots, pre-Cleveland Browns. 5 to 7. We're doing a meet and greet there. We get to talk to everybody. We love getting a chance to see everybody before we get rolling. The podcast will be live that night from 7 to 8. So if you can come out, that is awesome. If you can't get to Riverworks, you can always watch it on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. So that comes up this Thursday night. This is the League podcast. And in the League podcast, we'll talk some Bills. We'll talk about top 5, bottom 5 teams in the league, where things stand now. I guess the playoff picture is coming more into focus. Maybe not, right? Because there's so much, including the Bills, that need to be decided. I want to go back to the game in Foxborough on Sunday. And the more I have thought about this game, the more I think that it showed the path to me for how this Bills team can win in the playoffs. Josh Allen's been incredible. He is right there now as I think he should be right there with Matthew Stafford for MVP. I think he is a more valuable, better football player than Drake May. That is not a slight on Drake May. He's going to maybe end up winning the division, and he's had a very nice year. And maybe you could even argue some of his stats in total would be better. Watch the games. Watch the impact that Josh has had. And Stafford's been really, really good. And I said to you guys before, I thought that narrative vote. Now, they play Thursday night, and I know this sounds funny, and it really probably shouldn't be the case because you got two guys who may not win their divisions, even though they may win 13 games or more. But they have a game against Seattle coming up on Thursday. They lose that game, they may not win the division, and I don't know how voters will look at it. But regardless of that, Josh Allen has been great. But I thought that game against the Patriots showed that path for the Bills to win. Let's look at the second half. In my opinion, it's the best 30 minutes of football they have played all season. Played well against the Chiefs, dominated bad teams, got big wins against teams, as we know, Cincinnati and Baltimore and all that. But I'm talking about full-on team, all 3 phases. And it was so stark because they were abysmal in the first half. Abysmal, terrible, awful defense. The offense looked uncoordinated, as we might say, and then they flipped the switch. But when you watch them in the second half, it starts with special teams. Shout out Ray Davis, again, with the big return. And then they methodically moved down the field. That was it. Josh made some great plays like the third down pass, or the third down and 15. The pass to Dawson Knox for the touchdown was great. Some of his runs, all that stuff. This was not the Bengals game. This was not even the Tampa game. This was not the Baltimore game where it was insane Josh Allen. He just was great. I would say normal Josh Allen great, if there is such a thing. But they ran the ball so well. And the defense was, God, I can't use this word about the Bills' defense. They were dominant in the second half. The Bills' defense, as the kids would say, in this economy, they were dominant in that game. They gave up the one play, which was kind of a broken play. Now, with the Bills' defense, every run play could be a broken play. And they gave up 2 big hitters. Cannot do that. They got in bad position. Henderson took it all the way. He has that speed. Like, he ran away from Max. ran away from him. And Max can run. So that was impressive. But the rest of the time, nothing. And even though you were probably anxious, they get the ball back again. Bills shut them down. They didn't even make it where you thought for a second, oh boy, they could get points here. They could at least tie it. Nothing. Bills shut them down. So when you get that kind of defense, that kind of running game, Josh Allen wheeling and dealing, it was very, very impressive for the Bills. The reason I say that's the formula, I don't expect the defense to dominate teams in the playoffs. They had a really good second half, but they have to be better. They have to be better against the run. But when they play like that and take the ball over, yeah, I know, arm punt. I don't care. It was a great play by Trey White, right? When Joey Bosa makes that play, knocks the ball down. That's making plays in that defense. When they play like that and it doesn't take 5 consecutive drives of touchdowns to get the lead and end up winning the game, they're the best team in the NFL, or right there, right? With the best teams in the NFL. And so when I see that, I think it's a little bit of a mix to when we have seen them be really good, run the ball, play okay defense, and win, say like the Pittsburgh game. And then we've seen Josh just go crazy, player of the week and all that stuff. It's tough to replicate all the time. It's nice to have that in your pocket that Josh Allen can just go Josh Allen. But I thought that game showed the path, and they were good. Now, to the first half, run defense, we said, horrendous. I'm a big fan of Shaq. I have loved the way he's played. I don't think it was a good Shaq Thompson game. I don't think he was anywhere near as impactful. He said, he's an honest guy. That's a guy who judges himself harder than certainly me or anybody else is going to judge him. I didn't think he was impactful at all in the game. Didn't have stats, but there are so many times you just notice 45. I didn't see it. I'm not saying he's coming out of the game. He deserves to stay in the middle. I do want to see Terrell Bernard back on the field. I think there is a path for him to make plays in this defense. Now, in that game, Shaq wasn't good. Milano was turning back the clock, talking trash, making plays, hitting people, getting into it with, the opponent and Mac Hollins. And like, I talked to Trey White about it, but he and Milano turning back the clock. He's like, we've always been bonded together, called each other the boundary boys, because they were the guys that had to be that part of the defense. And Milano was outstanding. So you got that out of one of the linebackers. I didn't think Shaq was that good, but that's here nor there because he's been so good for them. And it will not be a bad thing if Bernard is healthy to give him snaps on the field, because Shaq is an older player. If you got both of them and you can use them both, let's see what it does for the defense. I thought the secondary held up really well in that game. It wasn't the Patriots pass game. Max Hairston was in a really good position, and Butte made that play. Max was there. That's the one thing that's concerned me. He had the one against the Bengals where he was there, but he sort of got turned around and, touchdown in the end zone. We know he got beat deep for the one by Waddle. Those are really good players. I thought Max was right there. I don't know how well he sees the ball right now when it's in play for him. And I think that's an evolution where they're so focused on their technique. But when that ball's there, if you watch that play, he sort of stumbles a bit, but he's right there. And then he gets behind him and makes the catch. So I thought that came out, but no Bernard. Trey White with that pick played well. I thought the entire secondary played well. And again, they shut him down. It was helpful that they got pressure. My guy, Greg Rousseau, got a sack, got pressures. We talked about the Bosa play. So all that's a positive for them, the way they played. But the first half was just unacceptable. Unacceptable. I mean, it was so easy, which I think is the Patriots season. When it was easy, it was easy. And as soon as it got hard, which we haven't seen that for them, they wilted. Now, about the Patriots, it's one loss. They have won 10 in a row. Very impressive. I said on the Patriots, I was on the Patriots pregame show, and I said, I think the Bills will win, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for New England to lose a game. But that was not a good way for them to lose. That exposed a little bit about the quarterback. Not that he's not talented, that he hasn't been there. And when the moment was big, he was not big. They didn't have the ball much in the second half, but he did nothing. If I'm a Patriots fan, it concerned me that he did nothing in a big moment, in big moments. One handoff, guy went for a touchdown. Second half, nothing, and didn't really pressure the Bills and all. So give him a break. It's like the first time he's really been in a spot like that. I mean, here we are in December, but let's see what happens with them this week. And I understand fans whining about calls. Look, I said I thought the call on the hold on Max or on Keon kind of weak, but they got away with it. Keon catch that ball. I thought I thought Shakir caught the ball. They hit the ground, and then Jones pulls it away from him. They called interference. Again, a little iffy. Listen, if fans want to whine, fans are going to whine about calls. Vrabel, I mean, seriously, Mike Vrabel, you're whining that the Bills lead the league in holding calls, and he says they didn't get one against them. Well, I'm sure he's been reminded now. Yes, they had an impactful one when it was a touchdown for the Bills. They took it away, was on Torrance, brought him back 10 yards, and then Josh threw a touchdown on the next play. So, Mike, you got your holding call, and then your team failed on a 3rd and 15. Just surprised me that it was a little bit of excuse making. Calls can go against a team, it can really hurt. But you were up 21-0. You were up 24-7. And you got outcoached and outplayed in that second half. And you better believe Sean McDermott, who had a rough first half, didn't like some of his decision making in the first half, thought he should have been more aggressive, defense not ready. Switch flipped in that second half. They were awesome. His decision making was great. His quarterback was great. And totally outcoached Vrabel, McDaniels, the entire Patriots side. They got him in the first half. Bills got him when it was more important. Just didn't like the whining about calls. Like, I don't know if you're setting some up for a third meeting. I don't think it really works that way. That just surprised me a little bit for a team that has done so well to rebound from their horrible season last year. But let's see what happens. But yeah, that's why I say that second half, best football they've played all year. Comment in. Let me know what you think about that. Now you got the Browns coming up. We're going to be talking about the Browns this week. And they have Myles Garrett, who is, it's funny, when a team comes in, it's the pass rusher, but can he set the record, tie the record, anything against the Bills? You can play any way you want. And I know we're going to talk to the players this week. He is one of one. He is the guy that no one is going to feel lesser of a player to want to get some help, whether that's Deion, Spencer Brown, whoever it is, when it's Myles Garrett. Yeah, you want to do your best, but he is absurd. So, and Shador Sanders, what their offense is, just can't let down in this game. I mean, I'm assuming with a guy like Sanders playing, he doesn't care what their record is. He's got to show something. Garrett's going for a record. Stefanski's coaching for his job. All those things. I think there'll be Bills fans there making the trip, not too far. If you're a Cleveland fan, God bless you, what you put up with. But Bills just got to take care of business and then get to the Eagles the week after that. So let's see how it plays out. All right, let's get to our top 5, bottom 5 for this week in the NFL. And I'm going to start with the bottom 5. And this team, I think this team wants to get their coach fired. It's Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals. They stink. I was going to put the Bengals in there, and that's not really fair, but they're done. I don't know what's going on with Burrow. I give him credit. He said all that, and then he said it's not about Cincinnati. Basically took it upon himself when he said he's not having fun. But they didn't show up. Okay, and shovel the snow out as best you can for your fans. Bengals are just so cheap. Just shows what an awful organization they are. They treat their players, I won't say poorly, but not the way you need to treat NFL players. And then the fans show up at that game brutally cold, and you don't send anybody to even attempt, like the Bills have done with those horrible snowstorms, to get some of the stands cleared out. But I didn't happen. So I will say they're 6th. I got the Cardinals 5th. Jonathan Gannon, just that team is done. They're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do. They just don't look interested in playing. I think that's a coaching opening at the end of the year. The Titans, bad team, been a bad organization. I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason. They just lose and lose, and they still can't get to the top spot. Well, they were in the top spot, so we'll see where they end up. The Jets are the Jets. Again, New York City, New Jersey football is horrendous. I got the Jets 3 and the Giants 2. I hear them. I hear people on the radio in New York talking about what they think should happen. Some of the national people in New York talking about the Bills being in trouble and McDermott being in trouble. Take care of what's going on at home. The Jets are a disaster. The Giants are a bigger disaster this year. So we'll see what happens. So I have the Jets 3rd, the Giants 2nd, and the Raiders number 1. So I did not get a chance to watch the Eagles and the Raiders. I did see highlights later, and I heard from some people that I know that cover the Eagles. Borderline not an NFL team they put out there on the field. Just horrendous. I think they had 60 or 70 yards of total offense. Doesn't matter that it was a backup quarterback, Kenny Pickett. Geno Smith's been terrible. Dan is going out of his mind with them kicking a field goal 2 weeks ago, down by 10 with 4 seconds left in the game. He thinks Pete Carroll should be arrested. I think he's going to get fired. They were non-competitive. Checked out. So that's where they are. Even though the Giants right now have the number 1 pick, the Raiders are the worst. I got the Bills back in my top 5. I just was so impressed with that second half. I don't know where it's going to play out. There's a lot of teams you could put in the top 5. I'm going to put the Bills there. Josh Allen's playing like he is the best player in the world. If the defense does that, it's so funny. Who would have thought to say that at halftime? But the second half, they were really good. I'm going off of that. That, to me, is what should give you hope that they can beat anybody and go to the Super Bowl when they play like that on the road, because they're going to need to. Seahawks 4th. We'll see what happens on Thursday. Give them credit. They beat the old man. And I'm sorry, Phillip Rivers. I'm sorry. I said it was a joke that he was playing in the game. I give him credit. He played tough. He played like a guy they could trust in that game and played pretty well. Wasn't a star, but didn't make a big mistake in the game. Threw an interception late, but that was desperation. They hung in there in Seattle. Not that impressive for Seattle to not be able to put them away, but they got to win. They've had a great year. I have there. I got to give the Jags the 3rd spot. I really don't know how good they are. Trevor Lawrence is playing like a real quarterback. They have Brian Thomas and the pass catchers have woken up. They're playing well. I mean, they could end up with the 1 seed. I think Denver's going to get it, but the way it's going, they're going to win that division or have a great shot to win that division. I'm going to put them there right now as 3rd. I've got the Broncos 2. They won again. Impressive. The Packers are good. I think that's normally the spot you see the Packers fail against a really good team in a big moment. But I give Denver credit. I still don't know how good they are, but they're really tough at home. And if they get that 1 seed, that means the Bills or anybody has got to go out there to play. So I have them, and I'm going to keep the Rams at number 1. They can score. The Devontae Adams injury is a big one for them. Stafford has held up physically, and I think he's going to win the MVP. But like I said, if they don't win the game coming up on Thursday, that narrative could change. Josh gets a win, Bills win out, maybe win the division, that it could be back-to-back for him. So let's see how it plays out. You tell me where I'm off. Who am I forgetting about? I got the Bills back in there. I don't even know when I had the Bills. I think it's got to be back to like week 4 when I had them in the top 5. They just haven't played like it. There's other really good teams, Chicago, Houston has played really well, and they're trying to make their charge. So let's see how it plays out. But that's what I have. So it's Rams, Broncos, Jags, Seahawks, Bills, bottom 5 from 5 up, Cards, Titans, Jets, Giants, the Raiders at number 1. That's going to do it for me. Again, a reminder, we'll be at Riverworks. That comes up Thursday night. Jenna, Dan, and myself talking Bills football, getting you ready for, well, obviously the Browns game, where the Bills are now, the chances for the playoffs. Obviously, Bills are going to need Patriots to lose to either the Jets or the Dolphins. Dolphins look terrible against Pittsburgh. So we'll see what the Dolphins have at the end of the year. But if the Bills keep winning, they keep the pressure on. If the Bills keep winning, New England's got to play to the final game in order to win the division. So let's see how that plays out. So we'll be at Riverworks on Thursday. Come see us. If not, you can watch the podcast here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Thanks for being with me in the Connors and Ferris podcast studio, brought to you by Stellar Roofing, Windows, and Siding. Oh, I can't say that. Roofing, windows, and siding. You always get a stellar job. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as Jenna says, to share. And thank you for being with me today. Jenna and Dan will be back. Live podcast on Thursday. Thanks for being with me. And we'll see you next time on Buffalo Plus.